We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this chance, number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 of our 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
The very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest. Which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. This is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountain. Good afternoon in the Central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. And today, family, oh yes, it's getting kind of hectic. Welcome to the live, y'all. Welcome to the live. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Yes, I'm being shadow banned, family. Oh, I'm not popular with nobody right now. Well, except those of you that are in my tribe that understand that we are out of time. Yes. For those of you who understand that we are out of time, you are in support, of what I'm doing here. And for that, I'm grateful. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, family. We are in the midst of the very problematic replacement, ethnogenocide by both sides of the aisle. It's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans too, family. It's both parties. But at a time, the Democrats were more of the gas chamber, and the Republicans were more of the guillotine. The roles have switched, family, as the Democrats flood the country with illegal, legal immigrants and refugees alike. And naturally, this is not a problem for white folks who have killed and stolen all of the wealth that our ancestors generated in building this country by way of the heinous chattel slave labor with their lives. Okay? This hurts freedmen. And the only kind of blacks I've been telling y'all that they migrate to this country are the ones they can make white. What do you mean by that, Angela? Well, the color of white in this country is green. So you can actually be a black and a POC white oppressor. We've got many amongst us. They're taking over in every branch of government. And so there's a couple of articles that have come out. And shout out to everyone in the new black media tackling these very, very tough issues and these tough conversations at the, expense of being called xenophobic. I'm amongst some comrades who are not afraid to speak on it. Okay? Let me share my screen while we get into it. Yeah, lots of people in the new black media are actually going over this madness that is happening right now to freedmen by the Democrats. They are by and large responsible for flooding the country. We did not have these numbers of immigrants in this country under Trump. That was not happening under Trump. So let's get into it. I'm going to keep that up while I read a little bit and make my commentary. And then we'll go to the next article. And then I'll share with you my Freedmen voter strategy. One in 10 black people in the U.S. are migrants. Here's what's driving that shift. The breadth of what it means to be a black American is widening according to new analysis of the latest migration statistics. Now, you have been seeing white folks who are now trying to identify as black. They've been white as the driven snow, getting all of the white benefits as the white driven snow, and yet now they're trying to tell you how black they are by the one drop rule. As soon as we ramp up about reparations, Biden finds a way to give reparations to LGBTQIA. He's giving reparations to Asians and Indians and Hispanics and refugees, Afghanistanians, all the while telling us we don't have enough money to give reparations to the very descendants of U.S. chattel slavery. So understand that Black America is widening because it's advantageous for them to widen it. You see, immigrants and white folks alike take advantage of on both sides of the argument. They want to be black when it benefits them, and then they switch over to being white when it benefits them. They play both sides of that race card to their advantage by design. This is allowed by the very policies and legislation that make it so. Back to the text. The Pew Research Center combed through the U.S. Census data and found the percentage of the black population that had migrated to the U.S. had more than tripled over the last 40 years. These days, roughly 10% of black people in America were born overseas, compared to just 3% in 1980. And a total of 21% were either an immigrant or child of an immigrant. Now, let me take a breath and help you with something. When we were dragged over here after being sold by Africa into the worst heinous chattel slavery known to the free world, and we fought for our emancipation, Abe Lincoln wanted us to leave. He wanted to expatriate us up out this country after using us as a shoes to build the country. Okay? He used us as the shoes to build the country and wanted us to get out of the country. He was assassinated. Let me back up. At that time, when we won our emancipation, we were at 4 million. At that time, we were 4 million, family. Okay, so stick a pin in it. So he wanted us to leave the country, wanted to expatriate us so they wouldn't have to look at us after using us as the shoes. He was executed. Andrew Johnson took the 40 acres and a mule that was awarded to us and gave it to white immigrants and white slave owners under a 100-year Homestead Act. Okay? So that's what happened. Under a 100-year Homestead Act, they benefited with all of the reparations that was taken from us from the 40 acres and a mule. And then that was given to white immigrants and white slave owners. So please don't come telling me that the weaponization of immigration just began. This has been going on since we fought and won our emancipation. And now what they're doing is, to stay in power, they're bringing over the immigrants that hate us the most, who will come into our communities, because that's where they're bringing them. When they're flying them in on these night flights and these night raids, they're bringing them into Black communities, and they're enriching them with the reparations that we are owed. Because what they're doing ultimately is buying the vote. They're buying the vote. And so what they can do with these Black immigrants is to put them in power and allow them to do our white oppressors' bidding by pretending that they weren't given a portion of our reparations so they can be in power, so they can control our communities. They're pretending that they pulled themselves up by their bootless straps when we were their boots. Okay? What our ancestors went through were their boots. I hope you're following me here. I'm trying to keep my train of thought because there's so much going on in my head right now that I want to tell you, and I don't have long with you. Okay? So the Black immigrants, after the 65 Immigration Act, were able to use us as their reparations to come into the country and to be set up by the government with our tax dollars and the reparations that were taken from us by Andrew Johnson for the come up in our communities. They were able to identify as African Americans. They were able to keep their families whole and procreate, unakin to us. In the beginning, when we first got civil rights, that's why the boomer class is okay with continuing to show up and vote this hot damn blue no matter damn who. They're cool with that because they just want to be left alone to die in peace. They're not giving a damn about their kids, their grandkids, their great-grandkids, and what that means every time they show up to vote blue, no matter damn who, since FDR, without any strategy, without making any demands. No strategy, no pivot, no shift. This was their lesser two evil strategy. And so we used to have whole, cohesive families. We were always labeled bitches and hoes. We had the father and the mother in the house with the children. Two-parent households. That's what the boomers knew by and large. And that's what Black immigrants know by and large. So they come over here with us as their reparations and got the unmitigated gall, Narcan and Cobra, to want to be tied to our reparations. This was after the 65 Immigration Act. They got here. They just got here, you see. But they want everything. They're leeches. They've already used our affirmative action to be educated in our HBCUs and take over in the student body and the administration. How many freedmen do you know with a median national income of $40,000 can afford a $200,000 private HBCU education over at Howard University? I'll wait. And contrary to the Black Authority, who sits up here and said, I love you, Black Authority. I share many of your videos. But you're absolutely flat out wrong to suggest to your audience that the immigrants are doing like, what did you call it? OnlyFans. And that's how they are 2.5 times greater in income and 1,000 times more wealthy than us. That's a lie. Many Africans who sold us into slavery, their median national income is around 70,000. Caribbean immigrants are around the same. And please don't run me that BS, that white oppressive narrative that if you would just pull yourself up by your bootless straps, you could be doing as well as me in your country. That's a hot damn lie. We were made bottom caste, and these Black immigrants are complicit. They are complicit in why we, as freedmen, are the anchor of this country's capitalism, because capitalism requires a bottom caste. So please do not sit up here and lie to the people and pretend that they're not better off financially than even freedmen. With a 70K median national income to freedmen's 40K or less since COVID. And I've shared with you many times that a 2014 Color of Wealth LA report shows Nigerian Black 60,000 liquid to freedmen Black 200 liquid. That was 2014. We in 2022. And so we had that for a minute until the Democrats continued to execute on their plan, since we would not leave the country, to replace us with immigrants. These are the ethno-genocidal plans for freedmen Black. You see, Black immigrants can weaponize their accents. They weaponize their names, their last names. And they play the Black white oppressive game to get the jobs that are due to us. While we get preschool to prison pipeline, homelessness. This ain't happening to you if you got a median national income of 70K, okay? If you got liquidity, this ain't happening to you. They're not coming up in your apartment and sticking a key in your door and alarming you out of your sleep to execute you within 2 seconds. That don't happen in neighborhoods where you're 70,000. Because that's not happening in my neighborhood. But I'm the exception. Most of us that show up over here, most of us doing this work are the exceptions. Back to the text. Study co-author Monica Anderson is an associate director of Internet and Technology Research at the Pew Research Center and called the numbers a major shift. The U.S. has long had a sizable Black population due to the transatlantic slave trade, but voluntary rather than forced arrival is relatively new. For Blacks, it's new. For white folks, this happened on the heels of our emancipation. Anderson said 2 particular U.S. laws help fuel the rise in migrants. The first was the Refugee Act of 1980, which increased the cap on refugees and paved the way for those coming from countries in conflict like Ethiopia and the Democratic Republic of Congo to enter the U.S. How many freedmen cities do you see? But you got Ethiopia village, you got this village, you got the other village, you got Chinatown. How many freedmen towns do you see anymore since white folks came through and burned down about 50 of them? When we were building from nothing, when we were turned free from slavery after fighting for our emancipation with nothing but our clothes on our backs. Back to the point I forgot to follow through on, we were around 4 million and with absolutely nothing. We grew freedmen black to around 40 million. With our bootless straps, that's what we did. Okay? So wash, rinse, repeat. When you bring in 4.5 million immigrants and they are able to afford to make babies while we are made bottom caste and have given 20 million babies back to God through abortion, they're now being put in a position to outnumber freedmen. Let me not get ahead of myself. The second was the diversity visa program, a lottery program created to boost immigration from underrepresented countries. This encourages immigration from countries that did not send many people to us in the first place, so it gave them an opportunity to come to the U.S., Anderson said. The number of foreign-born black people in America is now about 4.6 million. With the Pew Research Center projecting that number will more than double to 9.5 million by 2060. Did Dr. Claude Anderson warn us about this 40 years ago? And yet we continue to vote blue no matter damn who to our own lineage peril. It's cool to fight for reparations, but what about the very survival of our own lineage? Immigration is our most imminent threat. But we're running around here talking about, I'm only going to support people who support reparations. You, my friend, don't have that luxury. This is not about who's doing anything for us, because the Democrats lie and the Republicans ain't got nothing for you. It's about weaponizing the two-party oligarchical system to give freedmen an opportunity to turn this Titanic around and put somebody else on the bottom. Aren't we tired after 500 years of being on the bottom? Back to the text. The fact that the black population in the U.S. is diversifying didn't come as a surprise to Belinda Deneen Wallace. She specializes in Afro-Caribbean and Afro-diaspora studies at the University of New Mexico and said there had never been a monolith of Black America. There has already been a Black diaspora component to American Blackness, she said. I think the visibility has shifted the way in which we see non-traditionally hyphenated African-American Blacks in this country, but the presence has definitely always been there. You see, the trick of the devil is to flatten blackness under titles like Black and African-American. That's why you hear me talking about freedmen over here. I know some of y'all getting y'all's bag because you want me to call us ADOS, ADOX, BADOX, FBA, B1. We can identify as that as a definition of freedmen. American freedmen, U.S. freedmen, to be exact. Being a Black American descendant of U.S. chattel slavery is the definition of freedmen. But none of what y'all want us to identify as is written in the Constitution. I can't collect on none of these newfangled things when all I got to do is fall back on what's already entitled to us by the word freedmen. So that's what this country is good for. It's great for flattening blackness so they don't have to see their failures by way of freedmen at every branch of government. They don't have to look at it when they just put us all together as one. And the Black immigrants love this because they're able to identify as African American and get your affirmative actions. White women, get your affirmative action. LGBTQIA men, get your affirmative action. Immigrants, get your affirmative action. That includes Black ones. And like I told you at the top of the hour, the color of white in this country is green. And we have now moved to a caste system with freedmen Black on the bottom. And don't come up here telling me, well, they support a study for reparations. Did the gays have to be studied to get reparations that they just got? I done told y'all in a prior program, one Hispanic man got $90,000 and is going to be getting something like $2,000 monthly in reparations from Biden. Was there a study? No. I'm going to do a whole nother show on that. But they've been talking about reparations too, prior to what Biden just did. Okay? And now they've got it. Everybody gets it but us. We need a study. So don't come over here talking about, oh, they support a study, HR funding. I don't give a damn, because they also support Biden as they hold the bag to flood this country with the immigration that ethno-genocides freedmen. And let me say my disclaimer. I'm not anti-immigration. I'm anti the weaponization of immigration against freedmen to keep us tethered to the bottom of this country as the bottom caste. That's what I'm anti. It is time to trade places. And I've got a recommendation for that in my freedmen voter strategy towards the end of the broadcast. Back to the text. Wallace pointed to the White House as a key example. Quote, I think our vice president is probably the most prominent representation of that, she said, referencing Kamala Harris, whose father immigrated from Jamaica. Let me stop right there. This is exactly what they're doing to take over the government, while telling you I'm not doing anything specific for Black people. No. This is what Obama did when he set us up with the no to reparations and did nothing but make us lose over half of our wealth, which was in our homes. When he chose to bail out Wall Street and refused to put audits and regulations on the banks to make sure that money was coming to the very freedmen who lost their homes to banks that were paid 3 times over for the property. These are the kind of immigrant Blacks that are taking over the country. As we continue to ski-wee and chucks and pearls all the way to the hot damn polls, to our own people's peril. The study found Jamaica was where 760,000 Black immigrants in the U.S. were born, the most of any country, followed by 700,000 born in Haiti and 390,000 in Nigeria. Did you hear those numbers? So as those babies have babies, because they can afford to in the country our ancestors built with their lives, that's how they outnumber freedmen. Because our people have to go to the abortion clinics to kill their babies because they can't afford to keep them. Wallace said this diversity of Black life was reflected not just in politics, but also pop culture. I think Nollywood out of Nigeria has definitely made its way across the pond. Of course, they're taking over in every industry. They have taken over in every industry. And they're making a fortune on the reparations they received called freedmen. We also see it with something like Issa Rae, who is African-American and Senegalese, and her show Insecure had a diasporic feel to it. So yes, I would say it is becoming more visible to those of us here in the States. Let me pull up this one. Hold on, y'all. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you for joining the live. I'll be able to read your comments momentarily. I got to finish these thoughts and try to leave a little window. Oh, hold on, y'all. I just have to scroll down to this. Good Lord. Oh, God. Oh, I'm so sick of this thing over here. I'm trying to just get this picture right here with educational attainment varies among U.S. Black immigrants. Let me see if y'all can see some of it at least. Let me bring it down. They got so many ads popping up in the whole 9 yard, y'all. It is really on the nerve. Let me see here. Is that in my screen? I hope y'all can see that. It's tiny. Okay, y'all. I got to go to the other screen to read what I want to share. But I tried to get it centered for you as much as I can. All right, guys, let me go back. So, the study finds variation in education. Of course it does. Among the other notable findings from the study was a variation in education, with 31% of Black immigrants aged 25 and older holding a college degree, compared with 22% of Black people born in the U.S. But Anderson said if you dug a little deeper, there was quite a range. For example, among the foreign-born Black people population in the U.S., about 65% of Nigerians have a bachelor's or advanced degree, which is far higher when compared to Americans overall or immigrants overall, she said. But at the same time, those that are from places like Haiti or Somalia are far less likely to hold this type of college degree. And let me explain why. They need to keep some of the Black immigrants poor to compete with our poor, to keep us out of employment. This is why we boast the highest numbers of unemployment and underemployment. These Black immigrants under Haiti and Somalia, while they enrich Nigerians, descendants of slave traders, who have a median national income of $70,000 or greater by now, as compared to Freedmen Black, around $40K or less since COVID. These are the ones calling us names and doing all manner of things, cutting up. Now that they're in position to take over Congress, this money that they're earning makes them white. These degrees make them white. This is where I disagree with the Black authority. No, with this level of education, you're not just doing OnlyFans to make a living. You've got the education to demand your price, or at least as long as it's under white folks. I've shared with you guys a chart in the past where white high school dropouts are earning more than our college degree. White college degree as compared to our college degree. White high school dropouts are more gainfully employed than our college degree. And when they are college degreed, white folks are earning, this is undergraduate, I want to say we're earning around $70,000. White folks are earning around $150,000. And when you're dealing with graduate degrees, we're earning around $125,000 to their $350,000, if my memory serves me. White folks, that is. So when you're dealing with Blacks, Nigerians who descend from slave traders, Their salaries are 2.5 times of what I just quoted you. But not quite as much as whites and not as much as Asians who make more than whites. The ones with the fewer degrees are competing with the, how many of us were degree? 22%. With the 78% of us who don't hold degrees. Their degrees are competing. The degrees, the Haiti and the Somalians who aren't as degreed as the Nigerians are in competition with the Mexicans with 78% of freedmen. And when freedmen show up and can't speak Spanish, and when immigrants show up in their native tongue, or their accents, or their names, they're getting those jobs over you and filling those buckets for affirmative action. Back to the text. Wallace said these numbers should be regarded carefully. I do worry that we take this information and we use it as a kind of divisive shaming rod to say, oh, well, if blacks from the Caribbean can have this level of success, clearly African Americans can too. Or if immigrants are succeeding in this particular way, clearly African Americans can too, without looking at the specificity of our experiences here in the United States, Wallace said. So it's helpful, but it can be wielded in a way that I think can be dangerous. No. It's being wielded in the way that it was intended. These Democrats are justifying funding the country because they're claiming black folks don't want to work. When the truth of the matter is, we're not being hired. And they're propping up these black immigrants who don't mind as long as they ain't got to trade places with you as the bottom caste, Freedmen. They'll prop them up. They'll give them talk shows like Joyanne Reid, who called us Russian bots for demanding reparations and making it a hot topic on the debate stage. They're putting them in office. You got Freedmen black leaving Congress who are promoting immigrant black in their place, in their stead. And when you go to research where they descend from, it's being scrubbed. Let me go to the next article. Hold on, family. Black immigrant population expected to exceed U.S.-born black Americans. Study finds. Okay, let's get into this one. Oh, what just happened? Hold on, y'all. Oh, this gets on my nerves, all these ads. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and if you feel so compelled, bless the broadcast. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I want to bring up another title while I go through this article. Stop sharing that screen. Hold on. Okay. Let me see how y'all looking over here. Okay. I'm going to keep that one up while I read from the other one. Oh, I'm sick of this. Lord have mercy, these pop-ups. I beg your patience, family. A new report from the Pew Research Center highlights striking data about the population growth of Black immigrants in the U.S. According to the study, there were 4.6 million Black immigrants living in the U.S. in 2019, an increase of 3% since 1980. The report adds that about 1 in 10 Black people living in the U.S. are not born in America. Okay, that was the NPR article. This is MSN that I'm reading to you now. The other one was NPR. And you can look these up for yourself. At this rate, according to the data, the country's Black immigrant population would eventually exceed U.S.-born Blacks. The U.S. Black immigrant population is expected to increase to 9.5 million by 2016, doubling the current total. About 9% of Black people in the U.S. are second-generation Americans who have at least one parent born abroad, according to Pew. Looking at the socioeconomic status of Black immigrants, the data reveals that they have more college degrees than U.S.-born Blacks and a higher median household income. Still, Black immigrants face the same... I don't want to hear that. I'm not reading that part. They claim they still face discrimination because, see, that's the justification to give them reparations. If you choose to come here, you choose to live with the, you choose to actually endure the racism. So I don't really care about that. Hold on, y'all. Something just happened. I'm going to read it because I got a comment. Still, Black immigrants face the same amount of discrimination as Black people born in the U.S., the study concludes. How if you're college degree and your income is twice ours, 2.5 times that of Freedmen Black, are you enduring the same amount of discrimination as Black people born in the U.S.? How's that possible? Like I said earlier, are the race soldiers in your neck of the woods militarizing? Are the militarized Glacier Donkey race soldiers in the communities where your median income is $70,000? Are they in median income neighborhoods where you're $40,000 or less? Are the Glacier Donkey race soldiers walking up in condos that you own where your median income is $70K with a key to execute you within 2 seconds of awakening you because you reach for your registered gun in self-defense? Or is that more prone to happen in the hood where the incomes and the unemployment and the underemployment are off the charts? When the Glacier Junkie race soldiers pull you over, are they pulling you over in neighborhoods proportionate to driving while Black in the poorer hoods of the Freedmen? Are your kids attending the schools that Freedmen children attend, where the preschool to prison pipeline has about 22,000 of our Black kids on lockdown here in Southern California alone? Are your husbands doing time in state and federal prison for using and selling drugs? Given the war on poverty the war on drugs by the CIA, did the CIA drop the guns and the drugs in the communities where your median income is $70,000? Or do they drop that in the communities where your income is $40,000 or less? Are you having a hard time qualifying for home loans? Are you having a hard time borrowing against the equity out here in California that has doubled with a median income of $70,000? Or is that true for Black folks? Freedmen Black, that is, whose incomes are $40,000 or less and who suffer the highest rates of unemployment and underemployment. Are you more prone to get a small business grant or loan to establish business when you've got collateral, when you've got a median income of $70K, or will you be denied the loans as freedmen because you don't make enough income? So please miss me with the bullshit. Black immigrants don't face the same amount of discrimination as freedmen black in this country. Back to the text. Abraham Paulos, Deputy Director of Policy and Communications for the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, said his organization provides financial resources, food, and clothing to help immigrants overcome the challenges they face in the U.S. Of course! Where is our freedmen black in Congress to ensure that our freedmen black, who are 50% of the homeless families in this country, 70% on Skid Row, where are they to provide financial resources, food, and clothing to help freedmen black who descend from U.S. chattel slavery, to overcome institutional systemic racism in the country our ancestors built with their lives? These are the reparations they are owed. Back to the text. We fight for two things: racial justice and migrant rights, while we sit with neither. No social justice, no economic advantages. Paulos, who migrated to the U.S. with his family as a child in the 80s after he was born in Sudan, said the criminal justice system creates a huge hurdle for black immigrants. How so? I've had cousins that have gotten deported, he said. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. One cousin just got out of a detention center. Woe is me. Was he here illegally? Although a large amount of Africans migrate to the U.S., the Caribbean still remains as the most common region of birth for black immigrants. Oh, the ones that are okay with hoarding CARICOM but want to be tied to our reparations here in this country. Jamaica and Haiti are identified as the two largest origin countries. Oh, child, the ghetto. Let me come read your comments before I go to my voter strategy. Sick of this bullshit. That's what I am. What's up, Miss Powell? I see you, fam. Thank you for joining the live. You know, I love having you in the space. Easy Axe. Okay. There should be 1 million Black Americans listening to this live, but oh well, bye-bye, Black Americans. Oh, yeah. There should be. There absolutely should be. I don't know what's more important. They're probably over there watching, reality TV for a reality that ain't theirs. I don't know who this Habasha King, I don't know who you are. What are you? Habesha King, Habesha Tigray. I don't know. You sound like a troll. I gotta block you because I really don't know what that is. The exceptions seem to be the only ones that care about the whole of Freedmen. Yes, Easy Axe, you're absolutely right, fam. Yeah, we go hard in the paint for Freedmen. And we take cat naps, family. Yeah. Yeah. The other ones will wake up maybe when we are extinct to as few in numbers as the Indians, perhaps. And I guess they'll be satisfied with Maya Angelou on the back of the slaveholder quarter. Or maybe, they'll be awarded one of those $30 million crack pipes. No. Let's go to Miss Powell. The immigrants are going to do the bidding of this government because it's to their benefit. I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at the freedmen who chose to have tunnel vision about how this affects us. Absolutely. I'm not mad at them. Like I said, Miss Powell, my rub is with this government. Always has been. Folks like to twist what I'm doing over here. They love to make it out to be xenophobic. Even Freedmen Black love to do that bullshit, but I'm not falling for the tricks, okay? They're not going to get me. They're not going to silence me and make me more afraid of being called xenophobic than I am the extinction of my lineage. That they don't get the luxury of doing. Oh my God, my daughter keeping this door open. Let's see what else she had to say. The majority of freedmen want to pretend to be radical, but they're not. Immigration kicks the reparations can further down the road until it's out of reach for us. A revolution is necessary. Absolutely correct. I don't understand how they think that they can demand reparations on an agenda that also includes flooding the country to immigration. We won't be alive to enjoy the reparations. We will not even be alive. Hold on one second. We must tackle, okay, let me go to Miss Powell. She's always got some wonderful things to say. We must tackle uncomfortable issues to really make progress. We can no longer play the game the way the enemy tells us and expect to pick up a win. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, you see, not only is the house on fire, Miss Powell, we, the people, freedmen, are on fire. We're on fire. And I've got a daughter to leave this country to. Okay? Hi, Tanya Princess. I see you, fam. I got a daughter to leave this country too. I didn't come to play. My fight, that of Miss Powell, I know her. Her fight is for her children and grandkids. I ain't got time to play with it. I don't, and I'm not. And I don't care what you call me. I'm not afraid of being called names. I don't care what I'm saying is unpopular. I don't give a damn that it's uncomfortable, because your level of discomfort about the way I go hard against the weaponization of immigration against my lineage is nothing as compared to the offense I feel needing to fight for my daughter's very survival. My line. This is my line. And I'll be damned if I roll over from a few names being called or held at me because y'all don't like what I got to say about it. Not y'all. Y'all know who I'm talking about, though. Folks that want to comfortably continue to go and vote blue no matter damn who to our own people's peril. Because they want to be about a reparations agenda over the survival and the flourishing of the freedmen. Okay, y'all. Let me go over here because I got to play. I got to play. I got a couple things, a couple of housekeeping things that, this is going to be, just so you know, before I get into Dr. Claude Anderson, whom I play at the close of every broadcast as I explain my voter strategy. This is going to be Election Central. I'm going to be over here at least once a day, as much as I can. You guys know that, when Genesis is home, I don't like to be going on these tirades. I don't like her having to experience the angry Black woman that I righteously am, okay? I don't want her to go through this trauma. It's traumatizing to me enough. So I will be over here doing a full court press for Tamara Johnson-Shealy to unseat Warnock in Georgia in the U.S. Senate, and Marcel Dixon to replace Clyburn in District 6, South Carolina. Now, I'm going to deal with this issue because I had Tamara on my show. And I post this in my Facebook. We got a lot of folks in the grassroots who've got their asses on their backs. Their egos are bloated, and they're in their emotional bag because Tamara, can't publicly oppose. She cannot afford to publicly oppose H.R. 40 when she's weaponizing it against Warnock, who's not in support of study, to unseat him. You guys sound stupid as ever to sit up here and suggest that she commit political suicide by coming out full-chested against HR 40 when she's weaponizing it to get a seat in the U.S. Senate as our very first reparationist freedman. You sound dumb. You sound like you don't know strategy. And you're pissing me off. Not that you give a damn. Not that you give a damn, but I'm here to tell you how you sound to be working against this sister who's been in this fight for as long as I have. You sound retarded to be more upset about some mean tweets to Darity from Tamara Johnson-Shealy than to be upset with the current CBC that constantly gives you their ass to kiss. And we've got two real opportunities here because Tamara and Warnock are the only two so far on that ticket. We got less than 90 days to make her relevant in Georgia. Because the Republicans have split 10 ways. So y'all are killing me sitting up here in your bag over what she tweeted Darity or over the fact that she can't publicly oppose HR 40 because it would be committing political suicide. She's got to use strategy to get in. And the things you guys have said about her and the way you throw her away is unconscionable. And it's very reminiscent of what you did to me in the very beginnings when I was fighting for a super PAC. And this is why we'll never get reparations. Because of all the infighting amongst the grassroots who ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. Suffering from the worst post-traumatic slave syndrome I've ever experienced in all my days. You're willing to sabotage this young lady's opportunity to get in the Senate. How many of y'all phone calls do you think she's going to take once she achieves it? You're not playing smart politics at all. To give the only one of two reparationist candidates your ass to kiss over nothing. Get over yourselves. And donate, support, phone bank, and vote for this sister and make this video go viral. We are out of time. Why y'all some dumb-ish? As for Marcel Dixon, I don't like what some of the grassroots are calling him and saying about him. How many of y'all have put up your time, energy, and your resources to run against the Coon Clyburn that gave us a Lift Every Voice and Sing bill as a national anthem as compared to the Catawba Indians receiving land and casinos tax-free that will net them between $2,000 and $30,000 a month. And y'all got the unmitigated gall to drag his ass every chance you get. You disgust me. It's like y'all want to see us remain on the bottom. It makes no sense to me. The things this brother is going through, the things Tamara has put herself through, both of them to represent us in the U.S. Senate and the House. And how y'all want to get petty and shit and not support them and not give them money, making it harder for them to get in. You're sabotaging our chances of ever getting reparations. If we don't have a Congress full of Tamaras and Marcels, we're never getting it. Because they're replacing freedmen who ain't doing nothing for us in the first place, but paying lip service to support of a study while they ain't got to study no damn body else. They're paying lip service to a study and opening the country with the bag to give Biden his way to flood the country because he needs to make these immigrants whole at our expense for the vote. Only for these Mickey Fickies to turn coke when they 50K and greater at our expense. So this is going to be a full court press to help them get elected. Let me share my screen. This is Dr. Claude Anderson being in support of my Freedmen voter strategy. And I'm going to expound on it after we hear from him. Welcome to the live. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications.
Get away from that and say, no, we want tangible, measurable things. And you start with right now with Biden. Biden right now got in the office because of black folk. He's already said he and Harris that they'll never do anything for black folk in terms of reparations and those things. Do not vote for anybody who would not support black folk. I don't care whether it's the highest, lowest officers to the highest officers. Don't do it. And you vote strictly as a block.
So, Dr. Anderson, can I ask you a question about the voting strategy? I'm sorry to jump back in on it, but let me ask you, because you're making a very, very important point that I want to make sure that we highlight. That you said do not vote for anyone who's not in favor of black interests. We right now are pushing a closed border state. We are now pushing closed borders, period, because that is an absolute imminent threat when it comes to our community. And that is our voting strategy as we move forward into the midterm elections and then to the presidential election. How do you feel about the closed border strategy?
I'm totally in favor of it. From the community level to the national level, you set aside your property and make you build your community, and you market and close it. Market and close it, just like the Asians do. They mark Chinatown.
Thank you.
Everybody mark their towns with us. If you go across this country, you can find a little Korea, a little China, a little Helena, anything. You can find.
I'm so glad he's still alive to see us wake up.
So let me. I'm sorry.
There you have it. The iconic, living, legendary Dr. Claude Anderson in support of my strategy. And I want to, first of all, share with you about how this strategy was birthed through prayer. And then I want to expound on it a little bit. Because I get that not every district can move in this way. So I want to, let me go first things first. Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinian Church. Let me back that up. After delivering Teddy Roosevelt the White House, that means us, black folks, when we were Republican, we delivered Teddy Roosevelt the White House. He turned around and dishonorably discharged 167 Buffalo soldiers who were wrongfully accused of murdering a second white man after being quarantined to their barracks for being wrongfully accused of murdering the first. And Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinian Church, said, "You shot us when our guns were empty, and for that we're going to return the same by delivering a blue top of the ticket and a red Congress to protect the Black South." Well, I, in the beginning, was on a red top and a blue Congress to protect over 60% of Black Americans who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism. And then I looked up and I saw the Biden administration just giving away the country to immigrants, you know. So it was no longer a sound strategy to vote red top in a blue Congress in the general. And so I prayed about it, and then God gave me a closed border candidate strategy. Closed border candidates. You see, because on the Democratic aisle, you've got Republicans in Democratic clothing like Sinema and Manchin, who stopped the Voting Rights Act, which is pretty much there to benefit illegals getting the right to vote, akin to what you're seeing happening all over the country. So they stopped that. I think they also stopped the $15 minimum wage, the federal $15 minimum wage, because truth be told, that's futile when it costs about $40 an hour just to make your mortgage and your rent in this country. When you're dealing with a median household, when you're dealing with a median home price of around $400,000, there's nothing you can do to become a homeowner on $15 an hour. And like I said earlier, only 22% of us hold degrees. 78% of us do not. They will never be able to own a home on $15 an hour. So don't really care about that. And there was one other thing they did. Oh, they stopped that infrastructure bill, which is full of giveaways of more of our reparations. As a matter of fact, I do believe, what was in there recently? Lord have mercy. My thoughts, my memory is just fading on this. There was something big in that infrastructure bill recently that was exposed. Was that I think that was the monies that, the $30 million for the crack pipes. Really, that $30 million is to line the pockets of white and immigrant drug programs and to help the opioid addicted, because crack is no longer the epidemic in this country. They have jailed our nonviolent offenders who used and sold from the war on drugs sponsored by the CIA. They're either in prison or they're in the ground. So this government is famous for weaponizing our Holocaust to enrich themselves and immigrants, whom they also make white. Ergo, my closed border candidate strategy. Now, in your neck of the woods, that might mean a Republican. It might mean a Democrat. It might, I don't know who it's going to mean, but what I can tell you is this: reparations ain't coming no time soon, okay? Reparations ain't coming no time soon. So we have to neutralize our most imminent threat, which, as I just showed you in this broadcast, is immigration. Legal and illegal. Uh-oh, phone going on. Legal and illegal must be shut down. So God gave me the closed border Congress, including Marcel Dixon to replace Jim Clyburn, and Tamara Johnson-Shealy to replace Raphael Warnock in Georgia. That's what God gave me. And that way we get at least 2 reparationists in there. We neutralize the threat of the predominant Democratic Party, who is weaponizing immigration against us to make us permanent bottom caste in the country our ancestors built with their lives. And so staying home is not going to show the Democrats that we undermined and undid them this midterm election. And then come the general, I'm going to be pushing full court press after I get through the midterms for this same voter strategy. I don't give a damn if you call me a Trump supporter, if you call me a Republican. It doesn't bother me at all. But what I'm trying to say is that given your area, a closed border candidate may be a Democrat. It may be a Republican. I don't know and really don't care. This ain't a party thing. It is about a strategy for Freedmen to flourish. And we can't do it under this trifecta of Democrats, because when the Democrats have a trifecta, we are the only ones regressing. We are the only ones in pain and in suffering. No other group is complaining right now because they've all got our reparations and protections. They're very comfortable, very satisfied, and living the American life that our ancestors died for, vis-a-vis the worst heinous chattel slave labor known to the free world. That's what we descend from. And so we've got to stop this. And since we've been neutralized economically, the only thing we've got left for a small window is our vote. We have to weaponize this vote while it still has a little bit of power. You can trust and believe the Black immigrants are by and large going to be delivering the Democrats this midterm. You can trust and believe that the immigrants who have been living off of our reparations and protections are going to show up in record number to keep the Democrats in power. So you've got to do what's uncomfortable, akin to what our ancestors did as Republicans. When the Republicans would not give them civil rights, they pivoted to the Dixiecrats, which is the Democratic Party. You got to grow a backbone. You must. Our people's very lives and survival and our lineage survival depends on you doing the radical thing. Okay. We must do it, and we must show up in record numbers. You cannot afford to stay home. I want the Democrats to see us do it. I want us to get all that credit. But if you choose to stay home, and if we don't get Tamara and Marcel into Congress because of your benign neglect of them, giving your bloated egos and your emotional bags and the bullshit you live on, then you only have yourself to blame for more of the Black and POC white oppression that's coming for us in the next few years. You're going to literally help the Democrats finalize their plans to replace us. And you know full well they can stop this. They don't choose to. This is a part of the plan. You see them now sending troops over to protect the borders of Ukraine while ours stay wide open. And like Trump or hate him, he had a handle on this immigration. I'm going to read this last little bit to you, and then I'm going to pray us out. New Census Bureau data indicates there was a large increase in out-migration in the first part of Trump administration. Using data from datacensus.gov, a new CIS backgrounder examines growth in the nation's immigrant population. That data from the American Community Survey, ACS, shows that in the first 2 years of the Trump administration, 2017 to 2019, growth in the immigrant population, legal and illegal, averaged only about 200,000 a year, in contrast to 65,000 a year from 2010 to 2017. That backgrounder also estimated that net migration, the difference between the number of immigrants coming versus leaving, averaged 953,000 from 2010 to 2017, but 525,000 from 2017 to 2019. The Census Bureau has now, I'm going to display this while I read it. I like for this article to be a part of the program. Stand by. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Hi, baby. Yes, I am fearless, love. I absolutely am. I have to be. That's what happens when you become a mom. You become fearless. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, let me see something. Hold on. Make me a little smaller. Okay, there we go. Where am I at? Hold on, guys. I'm going to finish reading from another window real quick. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Okay. Okay, so the Census Bureau has now released a public use file of the ACS file, allowing researchers to do more detailed analysis, including estimating in and out migration separately. Our analysis of the public use data indicates that the fall off in net migration was caused by a substantial increase in out migration in the first part of the Trump administration, as well as a more modest reduction in new arrivals. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Figure 1, the immigrant population, legal and illegal, has grown much more slowly since 2017, reflecting a likely Trump effect. Let me show you this. Love him or hate him, honey, please. He was, in him keeping this ish at bay, it was helping Freedmen. Okay. So I got that there. Let me go back and read it to you since I'm showing that graph. Uh-oh, hold on, guys. Okay. Is that what y'all see? Let me check. Okay. The green bars. Okay, I don't see any green bars. Okay, but this is figure 1. Okay, but the data is taking me. Let me see. Does it say anything? Okay, so that was figure 1. Let me scroll up to figure 2. That's the one I'm about to talk about next. Hold on. Oh shoot! What did I just do? Okay. So figure 2. The green bars in figure 2 report the number of immigrants arriving each year based on the 2001 to 2019 ACS. As the ACS reflects the population on July 1 of each year, it is only possible to know how many people arrived during an entire calendar year once the following year's data is released. So, for example, the number of immigrants who arrived in all of 2018 is based on the 2019 ACS, and the number arriving for all of 2017 is based on the 2018 ACS, and so on. The arrival numbers are all based on the year of arrival questioned in the survey. The half-year arrival numbers shown in the blue bars are based on the survey for the year in which it is shown. Figure 2 shows that the number of immigrants arriving fell during the Great Recession and then rebounded, peaking at 1.7 million in 2016, the last year of the Obama administration. Hold on, guys. But in 2017, 1.4 million immigrants arrived and 1.3 million arrived in 2018. But in 2017, 1.4 million immigrants arrived and 1.3 million arrived in 2018. Figures for the first half of 2019 indicate that the number of arrivals in 2019 is likely to be similar to 2017 and 2018. Clearly, the slowdown in growth partly reflects a decline in newcomers. It should be pointed out that figure 2 shows that the unemployment rate of immigrants continued to improve between 2017 and 2018, and yet the number coming fell. As we discussed in our backgrounder on this data, the decline in immigration almost certainly reflects policy changes, not the economy. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there. Hold on. I'm gonna leave it right there for now because my hour is up. Yeah, family. I hope I've given you a lot to reflect on and to think about. Please be sure to help make this video go viral as it is being shadow banned. I do want to take a moment to thank those of you who have patronized the broadcast. Let me get to that just a second, please. Thank you, Mario. Nehemiah, Rashawn, Najee. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Najee. Lafayette, Demetrius, Perry, Erica, Demetrius, I think that's all for now. I want to thank you so very, very much for your support of the broadcast. Yeah, let me stop the screen and set up my closing. And to remind you that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedmen and his allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. You are the voice of God. You are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. If no one's told you today, family, know that I love you black and I love you so strong. Yes, I do. And until we meet again tomorrow, we've got all day with the task force. I'll be giving public comment akin to what you've heard this afternoon between 9 and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you don't hear me, it's because they won't allow me to speak. Let me put that disclaimer out there because I'm very controversial and I bring the smoke every show, every meeting. Yes, I do. So I'll be streaming that live. I'll be live at the top of the hour. And then right after that, we'll be over in Twitter to have a chat back with Chairwoman Moore about the task force. It's going to be an epic one because Chemerinsky is going to be there to discuss why tying all blacks to our reparations claim means you're setting us up to never receive reparations at all. So please be sure to tune in. And then Thursday, I'll be going task force all day again with my public comments at the top of the hour from 9 to 10 Pacific Standard Time. If you would like to make public comment during that window, please Gmail me at therepperspect@gmail.com. Before I go, let me also put that Gmail in there. And I want, hold on. And I want to put Marcel in here. Marcel for Congress. And I want to put Tamara. These are the websites for you to donate and to sign up for phone banking and to get out the vote. Okay. So all of that is in the chat over here at ScrewTube. If you're on Facebook and Twitter, I can't see you, but I welcome you. I thank you for joining the live. So yeah, that, and then Thursday after the task force meeting, immediately following, Mr. Marcel Dixon is going to be over here again, and I'm just thrilled about that. He'll be over here again to help with my topic of that day. I think it's about symbolism and a 2019 article where the Democrats wanted us to pipe down about reparations. Let's see here. What's the name of that broadcast called? Hold on, guys. Well, it's something about symbolism. Symbolism good. Reparations bad, per the Democrats. I think that's the title of it. Mr. Marcel Dixon, running to unseat Clyburn in District 6, South Carolina, will be my guest. And I'm super ecstatic for that. And so until we meet tomorrow morning, family, you make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening. Thank you. I'm sending you a ton of peace, love, and reparations. Reparations. Thank you, friends. I'm out.